Hello guys, so in this video I'm going to explain you what are the expected question in ideathon 2025. So what are the most questions that may be expected from the networking part that I'm trying to explain here. So I have collected some previous questions, whatever the question they asked in the previous ideathon process, that I'm going to explain first. So once it is completed, most of the time they are asking questions on the subnetting concept. You might be having the properly idea of the subnetting concept in terms of the FLSM, fixed length subnet masking, or variable length subnet masking. But thing is that you need to able to solve all the problems within 60 minutes, something like that, right? So I have given some shortcut method how to find out the answer, right? So what are the restrictions we have, then what type of questions might be asking in case of the subnet masking, so that I have explained in the second part, right? So there will be one compulsory question from the TCP connection process. So we might be knowing that how TCP connection is established from the client program to the server program. So the question is given something like this in the previous exam point of view. So assume that James is a software engineer who is developing a client server application that relies on the TCP communication. So we have the UDP TCP communication, right, at the transport layer. So here they are using the TCP for communication. He wants to ensure a proper establishment of the TCP connection. So between the client and server, so between the client to the server. So in TCP connection, the process of establishing a connection between a client and server involves the three steps. So first, how TCP connection will be established means first client will send the sync packet to the server, right? So now what server exact will do is it will also send the sync packet to the client. So along with that, it will send the acknowledgement for this corresponding sync, right? So server has to tell that I have received this corresponding information correctly, so for that I am sending acknowledgement. Once it is done, next what client will do is it will send the acknowledgement only. Why it will send only acknowledgement means it is received the sync information from the server to the client. So for this, client has to tell to the server that I have received this sync information successfully, so that it will send the acknowledgement. Now once it is completed, now connection establishment will be completed in the TCP handshaking process. Nothing but this is what we called as the three-way handshaking process in TCP, right? So this is the important question. So what is the answer? First it will send the sync, then the server will send the sync along with the acknowledgement for whichever is received, then finally the client will send the acknowledgement. So this is very important question. Most of the time this question is being asked. So next we will see the same questions on something related to the TCP connection only. Consider that John is a software engineer working as a client server application. He need to ensure that client can successfully establish a TCP connection with the server for data exchange. During the testing phase, he observed the given sequence of events. It means that he observed the given sequence of events, so while establishing the TCP connection. So what he observed here is that sequence of events are the client application send sync packet to the server. So from client to server, as we discussed in the previous question, so first it is sending the sync packet to the server. The server receive the sync packet and send it back to the acknowledgement pack with sync flag set, and it is also activating the sync flags. So if you want to study more information about the in TCP, we have the flags that if you remember what is the acknowledgement flag, push flag, urgent flag, right? So finish flag, that flag you try to read once. So those kind of questions will be expected for the ideathon 2025. Once it is done, then what is happening here? So along with that, it is going to send the acknowledgement. The client receives the sync acknowledgement packet and send it back to the acknowledgement. This is what exactly we called as the TCP three-way handshaking process to establish the connection from the one side to the another side. So now what they have given is, based on this scenario, which statement is not true, right? So the question is something like this: which statement is not true regarding the TCP connection establishment, right? So what is the first option? Sync and acknowledgement flag are used in the TCP header, right? So in TCP header only, right, everything is going to be performed. So this is the correct option, right? The client application send the sync packet to the server. Yes, is that right? So first time the client is going to send the sync packet to the server. So this whole process we called what as the TCP. For establishing the TCP IP connection, this is what we called as the three-way handshaking process, right? So now the server application initiate the connections, right? So it is not correct, right? So out of this one, which is the incorrect option or not true, means this is the option. So this is related to TCP IP connection establishment. This is also establishment. This process we called as the three-way handshaking process. This is the irrelevant to this one. So the answer is that the server application initiate the connection. So this is the particular answer. Now these type of questions most of the time they are asking. So what is the given question is that in a large enterprise network, assume that the user is accessing a web application hosted on a remote server. It means that the user is accessing, so something from your browser, you are accessing some server, right? Some information will be somewhere, let be Google Chrome, whatever it may be, from your browser you are accessing the web application hosted on the remote server. Something you will be having some movie file somewhere in the server that you want to access from your browser. So for that the user computer send the HTTP request, right? So remember this, which protocol we are using on our browser? HTTP protocol, right? So request to the server and the server respond with the request web page. So after you send the request, then based on that request the something information will reach to the, right? So request to the web page. During this process, so here we need to find out the answer, and dash are involved in the communication and perform specific function. The simple thing is that we are using the HTTP protocol at the input side, nothing but the client browser. So HTTP protocol means which is related to which layer? So it is application operation only, right? So in application layer only we have the HTTP, something DNS, telnet, everything will be there in application layer, right? So here first it is going to, right? So during this process, so what are the steps involved means first it will accept the application layer, right? So once it is done, dash are involved in the communication and performing specific function. So here there will be no physical and network layer operation, no data link layer and the transport layer operation. So first itself it should be the application layer, right? Because we are using the HTTP, right? So this is the option, right? So now why transport layer, which is related to this one? This one means application layer. This layer is responsible for user facing the communication and handle the high level protocol. In this scenario, the user computer send the HTTP request, right, to the server using protocol like HTTP or HTTPS. HTTPS means secure, HTTP means normal protocol, right? So if you want to remember the port number also, what is the port number for HTTP, what is the 443, these kind of questions also will be expected, which are part of the application layer. As I said that, so these all are the application layer protocol. So first here we need to fill the application layer. Next, once it is completed, the transport layer is responsible for the end-to-end communication between the client and server, right? So communication between what? And client to the server. So in this scenario, the transport layer handles the HTTP response sent by the server to the user computer, and it may use the protocol like either it can use the TCP or UDP based on the requirement, so to ensure the reliable data delivery. So the correct option is that application layer as well as the transport layer, right? So the answer is application layer and transport layer. Now we'll see the one more question. These kind of questions they are asking. Assume you are troubleshooting a network connectivity issue between the two computers, right? So there will be some network issue, connectivity problem that you are going to troubleshoot as a network administrator. After performing the sum test, you find that computer can communicate with each other on the local network. So local network means within your network, so something switches, something like this, your one computer will be able to communicate with the another computer successfully. So if you have done some packet tracer activities, so here we need to provide something called as the IP address, one more subnet mask, then default gateway, then DNS server IP address, something we need to give, right, before going to establish the connection from one PC to the another PC, right? So remember that point. So it means that what is happening means after performing the sum test, you find that computer can communicate each other on the local network. So within local network, those are able to communicate, but not on the internet. It means that if you want to establish the connection from your router somewhere to the internet, now we are not going to connect. You suspect a possible issue with the TCP connection. You find that there may be some problem with the TCP connections. Now what it means that which option from the given choice denotes the likely causes of the problem. So select the corresponding or correct options from the given choice. So first is faulty Ethernet cable. So if something is Ethernet cable problem means you cannot able to make the connection from one device to the another device on the local network, right? So this might be the answer. Incorrect subnet mask configuration. So if here subnet mask something it is wrong means you cannot able to again connect to the local area network, right? So this might be wrong. So DNS server also something like it is not relevant. So why? So this might be the answer. So but here they specifically given that you suspect a possible with the TCP connections. Now here only we will be having the firewall blocking, right? So this might be the answer in some scenarios, but here based on this scenario the answer is the firewall blocking outgoing traffic toward internet, right? So if computer can communicate with each other on the local network but not on the internet, it suggests that local network connectivity is fine, right? But there might be an issue with the outgoing traffic, right? So it is being blocked by the firewall, right? So this might be your correct answer. So answer is firewall blocking on outgoing traffic, right? So now again one more thing. So these kind of questions also expected. There will be compulsory question. Now what exactly you have to do is that we need to remember at least OSI model as well as the TCP/IP models. OSI we need to remember what is the operation or functionality of the each and every layer. The same way we need to find out either 4-layer architecture or 5-layer architecture of the TCP/IP model. This is very important. Why? Because every time they are asking the question from the functionality of these OSI model or TCP/IP model. It means that they are going to give some scenarios, right? So you read that scenario, you will understand what is the meaning of this one is. So they are using some these network layer. So they have given some question, something like this: managing logical IP address and translate IP address to the physical MAC address. So routing and forwarding the data between building, responsible for dividing data into the packet of transmission, providing the reliable and error-free data delivery. So if you want to find out the answer for this question, we need to find out what is the operation of data link layer, network layer, transport layer, physical layer, then other layers, right? So this is only sample question, right? So like this you find out what is the application of each and every layer, so that you will be finding the guarantee questions in your exam point of view, right? So one more question they have asked in the last year is that in network communication scenario, assume that the user want to access the web server hosted on the remote network. And somewhere you will be having the web server, so that is hosted on the somewhere on the remote network. In order to establish a successful connection, the user application data must traverse multiple layers of the OSI model. So we have the 7 layers of the OSI model, right? So starting from application layer, then presentation layer, session layer, transport layer. So if you forgetting in remembering of the order of the each and every layer, so you can remember something like a penguin said that nobody drinks Pepsi, or something like this. A power star said that nobody drinks Pepsi. If you remember that code, you can easily remember what is the order of the OSI layer, right? So here what is the meaning of this one is, so from your browser we need to access something web server hosted on the remote network, and it means that we need to access some content from your web server. So it means that first which layer it will start? Application layer, right? So by using, if you are opening your browser, means first we need to perform some application layer protocol, right? So it means that the process start with what? Application layer, where the user application send request to the which layer. So for that they have given these options. You read this option and find out the answer. So the answer is that the process start with the application layer, where the user application send their request to the transport layer. So once application layer is completed, then we need to establish the connection, means we are using the transport layer, either TCP operation or UDP operation, right? So next which layer? After transport layer, then network layer will come to the picture, right? Then adds the necessary addressing routing information, means addressing logical addressing mechanism. Logical addressing mechanism is it is nothing but the network layer only, right? So to the request and passes it to the wait. Once network layer is completed, the next layer is what? Data link layer, right? So once data link layer is completed, so see that here we will straight out find out the first browsing web browser accessing, means it should be the application layer. This is also application layer. So these two are the incorrect operation. So next one, so session layer, so it is not required, right? So transport layer, then network layer, data link layer is sufficient, right? So application layer, right? So you remember these kind of way. Just if you understand this question, you will find the answer, right? Now this kind of Python, so Python also they are asking the questions. Earlier last year they are asking only few questions. Now this year they have given that we need to prepare for the CCNA 3 modules, right? Along with that there will be expected some few questions from the cyber security, and it means that introduction to cyber security essential also there may be we are getting some few questions, but most of the questions will be in terms of the CCNA module 1 to 3, and more questions also will be expected from the Python module also, right? So these kind of questions will be expected, right? So you should have some networking concept, you should have the strong concept in Python, so that you can find out the answer. So in last year these kind of questions is given. So you are a network engineer working on a Python script to configure the static on a router. So static routing you are going to configure on layer 3 router. The script require assigning the subnet mask to the specific network. So what they are telling is that we need to assign the subnet to the subnet mask to the specific network. So what code to be, right, we need to write that, we need to find out. The IP address ranges has been defined in the, this is the range they have given. It means that you are tasked with the completing the code snippet below by adding the missing line to assign the appropriate subnet mask. So they have given this code, right? So they are asking that here you need to add the missing line of the code. Now here what you have to do is that, so what kind of code that we need to add here, so that for this static IP address range it will automatically assign the subnet mask, right? So these kind of things you should be aware or familiar. So here what is this one, IP network, right? So for this IP network what we need how to do, we need to add the subnet, right? So for that one we need to use this one, net mask. So the answer is IP network. So here they have given IP network only, right? So IP network dot net mask. So they have mentioned that if you read the question properly, in the question itself there will be hint for answer like that they have mentioned. Now these kind of questions are most expected. So what is the question here given? What is the first usable host address of the prefix 172.18.16.0, right? So if you understand here, first usable IP address means we have something called as the network address, then final address we have something called as the broadcast address. In between network address as well as the broadcast address only, we will be having the first usable IP address as well as the last usable IP address. So remember that the starting whatever the IP address we have, that is what we called as the network address. The last IP address we called as the broadcast address, right? So see that what is the starting value. Suppose if it is network start with 172.18.16.0 means this is not the network address, right? So sorry, this is the network address. The starting address we called as the network address. But in the given question you need to be clearly understand that in the given question they have mentioned that what is the first usable host address. Host address means what is the first address that can be given to your system or computer. That is the meaning of this one. Network address cannot be given to the system, only first usable IP and only given to the system. So what is the answer? 172.18.6.1 will be start. If you have the doubt, then what you can do is that, let me show you so that you will understand easily. So in exam point of view, they might not be allowing the subnet calculator. So if they have mentioned you can use the subnet mask calculator, then you can use it. So I think probably there will be not allowed of the subnet mask calculator, but just I'm giving you information that how you can find out the answer within 30 or 10 seconds. The reason is that you need to spend only 1 minute to solve all these kind of questions, right? So for what you can do is that, so what is the given 172.18.16.0, right? So now you can find the answer something like this. We have the subnet calculator. We have the applications also, that Android support will some application. If you want to check your answer, just click on the IP subnet calculator. Now if you observe here, what is the given question is that, so 172.18.6.0. So what you have to do is, here we need to enter our subnet mask as well as the what is the corresponding IP address. So then only it will, IP subnet calculator will give you corresponding answer 172.18.6.0, right? Just I am typing this one. So no, just directly without going the subnet calculations, as either it may be FLSM, VLSM for class A, class B, class C. So here they have given /21. CIDR notation is /21, right? So see that here if you click /21, right? So maybe /21. So just to find out the calculate. Now here you can see that usable host IP address is 172.18.61. So this will be our last address, right? So what is the broadcast address? This one. What is the first usable IP address means 172.18.16.1. So this is 172.18.16.0 is not the first usable address. If you see here, you will understand, right? So something, this is the network range they are asking out of this one. So 16.0 is the network address which cannot be used to the host, only it will be used for the 16.1 to up to 23.254. So we can't use the 255 also because it is the broadcasting address. right? So like this you can find out the answer within 10 to 15 seconds, right? So what is the next question? Yeah, fine. So if a host and network has the address of 172.16.45.40/30, so here CIDR value is what? /30. What is the subnetwork this host belongs to? Now they are asking this question. So something 45 dot some IP address they are giving, right? So it means that this IP address belongs to the which subnet we need to find out. If you want to find out answer is that one, you should have the good knowledge on the subnetting CIDR value. So what I am trying to say here is this: if CIDR value is /30, you should have the idea about the how many networks that you will get, how many subnetworks you will be getting, and each subnet how many IP address will be getting. So if you don't know, then what you can do is that, so go to the subnet calculator again, right? So because within 1 minute you should be in a position to solve these questions, right? So if /30 means, so what is the IP address here given? 172.16.45, right? So let me type this IP address 172.16.45. So just to give it to 0, right? Or if you want to wait something IP address something, what is the subnet mask? /30, right? So give this /30. /30 means it will be class C, right? So just to perform the calculation operation. Now if you observe here, what is the range? It will start from the 13 to 14, right? So 13 to 14. So it means that what is the answer? So 13, 14 is there, right? So the correction option is 12, right? So network address they have given, what is that network address? 172.16.45.12, right? So this one, right? So this network is belongs to what? The IP address we can use something that 13.14. So like that you can able to find out the answer, right? So again you try to find out. So what is /27? So first you should have the idea about the what is the /27. So if you don't have the idea, then what you can do is that, so straight away go to the subnet calculator. So /27, right? So just select this /27, just calculate it. You give the IP address as per the given question. Now if you scroll down here, you can find out the number of subnets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 something you will find out. So if you observe here, usable host ranges is from 1 to 30. It means that you will be getting the usable IP address only 30, but actually you will be getting the 32. It means that one is used for the network address, another used for the broadcasting address. Out of these 32, you will be getting only 30 for assigning to the host purpose. It means that, see that if you take /30 means you will be getting the 30 IP address, but actually you will be getting the 32 IP address. Out of this we can use only for 30. Now what is the given question? What is the answer? Something 10.145.100.6. So this might be in between what? In between any one of the subnet, right? It may be from here to here, from here to here. So as per the given question, 100.6, right? So now what is the answer here means that, so which host range? Host range means you should not include the network address as well as the broadcast address. If you observe here, so how many IP addresses we are getting in each subnet? We are getting something around the 30 IP address, but how many total number of address we are getting? 32, right? So but in the given question they specifically mention not total IP address that we are going to get, they have mentioned only usable IP address. Host IP address means those are the usable IP address which we can able to assign for the end systems. Now if you see that what is the relevant answer means, you will be getting the 30, right? So out of 32 you will be getting only 30 for the usage of the host. If you see that this is also correct answer, but why it is wrong option means only they are asking for the host ranges, not the entire IP address that we will be getting in the subnet. They are not asking what is our network address, what is the broadcast address. They are asking only for the host range, nothing but what is the IP address that we can assign to the system. Now see that, so this is the correct answer, right? So starting address, usable address is 1 and end address is 30. So if you observe here why this is wrong means, /27 CIDR means you will be getting only maximum 32. How we will be getting 1 to 255 IP address, or 0 to 255 address, or 0 to 633 address? No, this is not possible. Straight away you just select the /27 subnet mask. Here you will find how many hosts we will be getting, under how many networks we will be getting, everything you can see it, right? So that you can solve the problem easily, right? So next type of question will be expect something like this: the network address of 172.16.0.0 provides how many subnets and hosts, right? So simple is /19, right? So /19 means again you go to the subnet calculator, right? So now you select this /19, right? So if you know that what is the specific range which subnet it is, either it may be class A, class B, class C, you select it. If you don't know, you select the something, that's one. So what is the given question? Which one? /19, right? So just click on this one, /19, right? So here select. Here you don't need to select the actual IP address. Why we don't need to select the something IP address? If you want to select, you can select 172.16.0.0 here, right? So if you not giving here also some random IP also, it will not be problem. Why it is not problem is they are asking only, they are not asking what is the starting IP, what is the ending IP. They are not asking any questions which is related to the right IP address. They are asking only how many subnets you will get. So in each subnet how many IP address you will be getting for your systems, nothing but the host, right? So just to select this /19, if you select this /19 itself, then if you perform the calculation operation, you will be perform something. So how many usable you will be getting? 8190, right? Do we have somewhere 8190 host, right? Simple. So if you want to find out the how many number of subnets are there, just you calculate 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, right? That's it, you will find the answer. So in Cisco ideathon in the last year they have asked 5 to 6 questions, right? So 5 to 6 questions from this one, right? Now they are asking question something. You need to a subnet network that has a 5 subnets, each with at least 16 hosts. Which classful subnet mask you would use? And it means that there is no direct question. They are giving that as per our requirement, I require the 5 subnets, and each subnet I will be having the IP address for the 16 machines or 16 computers. Now one way you can find out that, so here they have given options A, B, C, D, right? So based on this also you can find the answer. How you can find the answer means, again go to the subnet calculator. So what is the answer means 224. Why, right? So now this one 255.255.254. Just you select that, you will find how many subnets you will be getting, right? So like this you can find out the answers, right? So for example here on VLSM, if some questions they might be asking 1-2 question from the VLSM also. In this case, this subnet calculator will not be work. Only it will perform the default pixel length subnet masking. So if you want to perform the VLSM based on questions, just you type the VLSM CIDR calculator, right? So if you use this one CIDR VLSM calculator, now what you can do here is that you can enter your network, right? So here you can enter, so enter value of the subnets, how many subnets you want, you can select it, something 2 or 3. So if you want to change, you can change. Suppose for example, let me select I require the 2 subnets, right? So for example, if I click on change, so subnet name, if you want to give it, you can give. For example, here I required something called as the 30, here if I required something called as the 60. Now if you click submit here, you will find each and every details, right? So what is the starting IP address, what is the network address, what is the broadcast address, what is the usable IP address. So VLSM also you will be finding 1 or 2 questions, right? So most probably you will be getting the most of questions from the VLSM or FLSM, right? So just go through these topics, right, which is also given in our channel, how to prepare for the VLSM as well as the FLSM concept. It is advised to so go and prepare those topics because those are very, very important. So along with that you can prepare for the CCNA module 1, CCNA module 2, CCNA module 3 as well as the Python programming also. You will be getting the more questions from these things and very little bit question from the security concern. Either you can go for the DHCP process. If you observe in CCNA module 3, so what are the problem might be happen in DHCP, right? So you might be having the DORA process. You just read everything in terms of the security kind of related will be there. So based on that also there will be asking some questions, right? I hope this video will be helpful for preparation of your exam, right? So if you like this video, please do like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you guys, have a nice day and all the best for your exam guys.